right now as we look to some tech. We look to some consumer discretionary names, notably strong. I'll show you in a sec. But mostly tech once again on a bounce, trying to lift what has been a pretty flat day overall, but positive right now to the tune of, as I mentioned, 0.4%. Healthcare stocks offsetting right now. This is as mixed as you're going to see this board. However, there's enough individual positivity coming through that we're able to offset some of this negativity and then some. So healthcare stocks actually red on the day. One of the biggest influences to the downside for the overall market right now. CTLT Tech, GE Healthcare, GEHC, with a offering that came out in the pre-market we mentioned quickly there. Banks back downside for the most part. Individual banks over here, all red for the most part. These are financial services names showing a little bit of positivity this afternoon. Real estate, material stocks, some of the communication services outside of Warner Brothers there, negative as well. But overall, bit of a choppy day. 0.41 right now for the S&P 500. We'll touch on a few names moving around right now, including Beyond Meat. I just see popping up in front of me. We haven't talked about that for quite some time. Nice day so far today for BYND. We were discussing a ton of things. If you joined us in the pre-market, there's Beyond. Day highs on huge volume to the upside, up 25%. CVNA, Beyond Meat's another one with a massive, massive short interest. So some of these types of names starting to get going here this afternoon as we head in to the final couple hours on Thursday afternoon. We're going to have Frank Caberna come through in about 45 minutes or so. We'll touch on some currency moves that are happening not only today, big move down for the US dollar. That has pretty much everything else across the board to the upside. Remember, Bank of Canada comes out and surprises with its interest rate hike this week, 1/4 point to the upside. We had the Bank of Australia coming out earlier in the week with its surprise hike to the upside as well. So Frank Caberna will tell us what we need to know heading into next week. Remember, I was just looking at the calendar again. Tuesday is CPI, Wednesday is PPI, and then the Fed in the afternoon. So it's going to be a wild ride through the middle of next week. We were discussing Amazon. If you joined us early on this morning, it was relatively weak in Wednesday's session. There was a couple of negative analyst notes on Amazon suggesting they need to find some more leadership or more significant leadership. Positive note this morning to discuss as far as e-commerce sales are concerned. But here we go right now, guys. Back to the downside, still holding on to 2% though.
My mic should be gone. Max went nowhere. He's now chilling. That is not Sean, even though it says Sean underneath. Clearly, unless Sean changed his shirt, got a new haircut, and all that other good stuff. But yeah, welcome. Amazon. Here, I'll slap that on. Why? I'm hearing like an echo of myself in my ear. I have no idea why that is. But yeah, so Amazon's a bit of a pain in the butt for me, and I'm still hearing that echo. I'm going to turn this off, and hopefully I don't hear it anymore. Yeah, I broke my own rule on Amazon and then didn't take the trade I should have taken. And that rule, generally speaking, is if you try to take like a curl off of resistance and it shows you like the bullish trend continuing, don't reload it. Like you can take the first short, the second short should confirm that the level is good instead of just jumping in front of it. So that's me on Amazon. And that was my morning for a lot of things. It was like get in, make money on the short, then give it right back, shorting it the second time to be flat on the stock or slightly down or slightly up. And that was most of the things I traded today. What the heck? However, just finishing the thought, in my preparation in the morning, I said, hey, if we can get back up to 125, 126, maybe I'll show the 15-minute here, looks a little better. If we can get back up to 25, 26, that previous rollover yesterday, that's where the short should actually be. Like turn that into like the Alamo up there, and then I didn't trade it. Why? Because everything in their mother started running and everything looked really exciting. So I'm now short this thing called Forza. And along the way, instead of like, I'm not even involved in any of the big cap names right now because Forza made a move, and the spread on Forza is now 6 cents. Like this is stupid. It's a $3 stock and it's got a 6 cent spread where I'm going to try to capture the bid there. That's insane. So I should have had Amazon short at 25. It went to 125.50. Instead, I was messing around with 124 all day long, and we're right back to 124. So I'm not touching this until I see maybe a little consolidation. Show me that 124 looks good. I think the futures are kind of gearing up. They're at a point now where we could be making, show the NASDAQ here. Yeah, you could just be making a nice little lower high and then break back up toward the high. It's decision point anyways, so I don't need to make a decision until the market does. The small caps are running. There's plenty of these moving around, including
Carvana.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, Carvana's finally going.
And I remain long.
You've been long all day on Carvana.
I've been messing around with Carvana all day. I finally get logged into Sean's computer, and I'm, $2 in the money on this one. So, yeah, chilling on that.
Sean locked his PC.
Yeah, Sean locked it, so we had some problems, but we're back.
You're diamond handsing it.
Is absolutely diamond handsing it. Absolutely. I mean, the target on this is like $45. Maybe not today, but eventually.
Is it 45 or is it
450?
actually on the daily 43 and
Yeah.
then 58?
Yeah.
43. Although the highest close was 55 on that wick there. So I know we're supposed to be talking about Amazon, but I have to point out because you just took the Carvana break. My road trip on Carvana is not nearly as nice. So that's the good. The bad is this. I had the when it went to the halt.
I was out for lunch during that time.
Okay,
that
so
was the trade of the day.
No, this one.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was going into the halt. So
Yeah.
I didn't take like a normal long up there. I was like, it's halting. I'm going.
I want to be in the halt. Yeah,
I want to be in the
yeah.
halt, so I took that trade, which I'm not really letting it go all the way back into 20.
No, of course
So I
not.
stopped that one out underneath, and then I go long here and give it up for $1, and I'm now pretty much flat on Carvana instead of up bajillions of dollars. But yeah, so to the moon, Carvana, Amazon. It's a short. If you shorted it at 125, remains to be seen here. I don't know.
Yeah, just kind of in the middle on Amazon.
It really is in the middle right now. Vana.
He looks after it. All right, let's go on to Lucid here. We're wondering what was going to be the outcome of the day. After gapping to the upside, Lucid comes out this morning, says they're going to move into China, start selling their 300,000 plus cars in China. Down now 1.3% on decent volume. More importantly, who cares about Lucid? We are 170. Wait, is my that's math.
You're right.
Math is good. 170 here, guys, away from 400,000. If you haven't done so, come join us every single day the market is open. Make sure you hit subscribe. Let's get this done today if we can.
Yeah.
Get to 400,000. But what'd you think? Any trade on Lucid today?
Yeah, no, I didn't have a trade on Lucid, but it's a good look for the Saudis. They've been looking to diversify a lot of their capital. It's sitting dormant in cash for years. A lot of diversification coming to the west. We haven't heard about too much going to China, to the east. So some overages there by Saudi Arabia with the east.
Yeah, so back downside as we saw there. I mean, it was a bit of a grind after that initial spike to the upside all day long here. Let's be honest, it's a 40-cent range on Lucid today.
I'm like, how can you jazz that up to make it seem exciting on a day where every single squeeze stock went to the upside? No, you can't. I'm hearing myself in. I'm just gonna turn it off. For me to hear Brennan, I keep hearing myself in my ear. I have no idea why that's happening to me. So I don't have my Unity on, guys. Lucid, I don't know what to tell you. It huadunked right off of the open. I suppose it could get down to $6, and if it gets to $6, that would be your 52-week low. It's either 606 or 609. I'm gonna go to my daily chart and kind of like line it up. That looks like 606 actually to me. So if we get to 606 or $6 on Lucid, wake me up for what's probably going to be a few 100,000 shares on the bid, and then going long 01 or 02, either making 15 cents or getting stopped out at like 90 something. So when that happens, there's a trade in Lucid. Until then, I don't know what you do with this thing. It's been pretty much a nothing burger. Unless you were just short the first pop for some reason. Yeah, that's all you could do. Everything is running that's squeezable. I don't really even remember if Lucid has a decent short interest. I want to say no, because I feel like if it did, it would be going today. It's 22% short with a catalyst and you're down today?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That's not good, because everything with a short interest, well, not true. Most things with a short interest are actually making moves today if they have any kind of a reasonable catalyst. And Lucid, which started with one, rejected the breakout. There's no buyers on this right now. Frustrating. I think the Saudis are playing nice, spreading their stuff around there. Maybe they are going to actually build that plant in China. but until then, nothing burger for Lucid. Oh, well.
Yeah, in our morning meeting, I said, there was news on Lucid, right? And then I pull up the chart. I'm like, yeah, we don't need to trade this today. There's basically no gap up on this one. So yeah, Lucid, a bit of a dud today. I thought, maybe there could be something.
I had a
It's
7 break
squeezed
lined up.
before.
Well, if we zoom out, like there was a 7 breakout that was set up here for a big gap fill that I thought would have been okay. But it just, if it had gapped and continued or just gapped right into 7, on a day like today, it probably would have gone just because shorts would have covered. But if you're short Lucid, yeah, what scared you about today? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, about as scary as the Dallas Cowboys when they line up.
What, the smoke? What was he referring to?
Flattering about the Cowboys. I
Right.
promise you that.
Obviously. Let's go to GME here. It was a tricky one as well. To the upside end of the gate, and now here we are holding higher, back above 21. I mean, wasn't much of a trade if there was a trade, maybe up or down off that initial reversal, but sideways since here after GME with a big miss.
Yeah, that 22 level came in early, and it hasn't been breached since. High a day on GME is 22. This comes off the news that they fired the CEO and they assigned Ryan Cohen as the executive chairman. He's going to be, I guess, tasked with some of the financing of the company. So they say, we'll see. They go through a lot of CEOs and CFOs, Brendo.
5 in 5 years, to be exact. You made a good point this morning, however, suggesting that, what is the plan here? And the answer to that question, I think, is it doesn't seem like there is one. They still seem to be struggling in that sense, looking at NFTs and things of that nature. But yeah, 5th CEO to exit in 5 years was pretty much all you needed to know for GameStop, a back upside today.
The problem with that, see, I've turned that off now. The problem with that is 5 different CEOs, 3 different CFOs in 5 years. That reminds me of day one on, I always say this to be self-deprecating, that was like my trading day one on DWAC, when day one of its squeeze, where it was just I had 32 trades on the same stock by 1:30, and 28 of them were short and the stock was going up. But you have to have some decision. So at least for me, I had one idea that I wanted to take on GameStop, which was I want to fade if it cannot break out. I just want to play one fade, and then it looked like it was going. Made that push to the upside. I'll take one shot under here as it's underneath. It's either going to go up or down off 21, and I'll give it to the high. It probably was a scalp trade because I was short 21.10 and I had 20.80s I could have been taking out, but I was like, no, if you're risking 50 cents, I'm not even bidding it till it gets down to the bottom. So I did that thing. But it was just in at one price. It was out at one price. And I thought it was either a home run that was going to break 20 and fall forever, or I was going to lose on that trade. So I ended up losing on GameStop. And the funny thing is, the same entry point was actually a gorgeous long, by the way, but that's fine.
Well, actually, it was only a gorgeous long if you executed properly, because I had the opposite trade of you here at that 21. I took it on the reserve hold here, got stopped out once, and then I punched high stupidly and stopped myself out again. But yeah, that 21 level was a great long, just not for me. I was a little antsy on that one and mis-executed. But yeah, that was the same thing for me, just one shot at one level. I would have liked it at 20, but it never really showed it to you during market hours.
Yeah, that was the frustrating thing, because right at 9:30, it kind of maybe sort of, if you were that trade, when you look back at the chart, it's oh yeah, of course you could have been long off 20.
Yeah, but that's during the auction period too. So
exactly.
Is it even open yet?
It's a New York. That's what I was gonna say. It's a New York stock.
Yeah.
It's not actually open. It's 9:30, but New York stocks don't open at 9:30. They'll start trading. Everything's trading at that point because there's pre-market action. But they open the stock with the auction seconds after.
Yeah.
So you don't really have that trade off 20 unless you're willing to get in before it opens. And just a word of advice on doing that.
Yeah.
I remember trading, I'm not making this up, it was Robinhood after their earnings one day. And there was, it made a move, and I'm like, this is a level I want to play in Robinhood. And I remember getting in, I'm like, this looks so gorgeous. And it wasn't open yet at 9:30. And when it opened up, it opened into a halt 10% away from where I had just gotten in. And if you took the trade, it was yeah, and you're out.
Yeah.
And that was it. So never again would I take a GameStop, a high volatility name, before it opens up at 9:30. You can trade in the pre-market if you want, but at that open, let the stock have the auction where the liquidity comes in, and then make your decision. And if you did that, you were chasing the long off 20 just a little bit too far.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk CVNA again because, hey, if you didn't notice, it's up huge today. On this note, they came out in the pre-market with an increase to their second quarter profit to above $50 million, which is, hey, for CVNA, why not? 6,000 per unit profit as well for Carvana.
What's the short float on this again?
A lot.
A lot, 60 some odd percent. Yeah, you saw the mad one himself embroiled in this trade, and he's probably very pleased at the moment. I don't know if he's long, but it just made a new high, 23.80. This one's really going, guys. Carvana up 52.5%.
The mad one? Is that what we're calling him now? The mad one. What do you think about Carvana?
Don't look at me, man. I'm not in it.
I am currently long Carvana as it takes out the high again. So new high again on Carvana. Apes to the moon, diamond hands. That's me, baby. Looking for 25 plus on Carvana right now. They cannot hold this stock down as many times as the bots try. You know, you get that wick high here. Now we break out again. I don't know, like, you know, the morning was a bit of bamboozlement, but once we take out that 2050 high, we've just not looked back, and it's just straight to the upside. So, yeah, you got to imagine a lot of people are offside on Carvana with 59% short or 69 or whatever. Somewhere between 50 and 70% of this name is shorted. If you are holding from $350, I don't know why you would still be holding right now looking for zero, but I don't know. I just don't get that
Fancy accounting.
risk to reward.
So, like, I tend to think some of what they updated is a little bit of fancy accounting, but at the same time, if you have the short from like the ridiculous levels, like it wasn't good enough when it went down under $5.
Yeah, exactly.
And when it broke the 50 period and consolidated underneath 10, like that wasn't good enough for an out. And when it got here again and got back and broke the 50 the second time at like $9, like that wasn't enough for you either. Like, I don't know. You could be. I think that part of it's definitely right. But I just got in and out of a scalp trade on NVIDIA underneath the 50 period there. That was really quick, but I risked about 20 cents on it. Yet it's still there. So that'll come off the board because there's a bit of a delay, I've noticed that, from when I get out of a position or into a position and then showing up. I don't know. So I'm not in NVIDIA. I was in it very, very quickly. Vana, as I said, it wasn't my best. I got trapped in that one of those, like, it's about to halt. It's going to halt. It didn't halt. Then it was still open. So I thought I was going to be holding it from an entry off the halt. And then as it reopened up, I'd just sort of be able to take the liquidity and the fill off that. So I had a really tight stop on it. I did get long again, but that was just to try to make something back that I lost here. Like, I'm losing more here than I actually make in that move. So yeah, I mean, it could go to, there's big levels on the daily. I don't know if they get to them today, but in the today's Thursday, in the next days and weeks, maybe you can make that push to 30. What's interesting is that every time it looks like it's one of those failed breaks, like a classic one that you should short, it catches the bid right at the previous top.
Yeah, exactly.
So if like this one, if it holds 2250, I mean, I'm talking myself into, like, if it holds 2250 on a dip here, like 2250 to 2175 is 75 points of risk to be able to get into this move if you can get 2250.
Brought to you by Options AI, easy to use, visual. Options AI is your new mobile co-pilot for anything from stock to advanced option spreads, zero commission, stock, and just a $5 flat fee for options with no per contract fees, no matter the legs or size. Options AI, turn great ideas into smart trades. Netflix, bottom of the list there. I mean, all of these streaming stocks, you can look at Warner Brothers, you can look at, I mean, Paramount kind of gave it back, but WBD up 7% today. Netflix up again today, or trying to be, coming off that note initially for Netflix earlier in the week, suggesting they're going to get a bigger chunk of TV ad sales throughout the remainder of this year. So looking pretty good here. All of them, then Amazon jumps on the bandwagon today, saying they're also going to have an ad-supported tier for streaming.
You took it right out of my mouth. Keyword. Ad-supported tier equals new revenue equals bump in the stock. We're talking to the tune of $6 to $6.5 billion of new revenue coming in for 2024 and 2025 for Netflix through this one source. So I think Amazon looking to take a piece of that as well.
I was actually surprised by that number. 70 billion in total TV-related ad sales in the U.S., I guess. I was a little taken back by that. I thought it would be actually a little bit smaller. But Netflix still holding on to 1.25 here, guys.
I'm kind of peeved at myself because like my thesis on Netflix was to just go for, if it bounced to the downside, look for 395 to hold, and if 395 held, go for the long. It did get down to like 396.27, and then it came back up. I wasn't sitting on the bid, so obviously I didn't stink bid it, which might have got me a fill. And then it came back up pretty quickly. Didn't really want to chase the long too far. And then there was just no trade for me. It didn't get up past up to 410, where I thought that was the short to me was going to be between 408 and 411. Maybe that actually happens this afternoon. So it never got there. I ended up with no trades on Netflix. So sometimes you stare at a stock in the morning and you don't actually end up trading it, which is always frustrating because if like this was when the market was going up, like this was the one I kind of wanted the long on, which is it sucks. I never ended up in it, and it's holding VWAP now. I suppose 402. Like if I'm looking to make something happen in it, it's probably good to 402. But I'd rather be getting it underneath VWAP. And just an update here because this stupid Forza thing. I don't know. So Forza, is it Forza or Forza? Forza. It looks like Forza because it's a Z. So anyways, the stock with the 4-cent spread, that's a $3 stock. It made a halt up at 360, so you can probably guess like the trade I liked. So it halted up 360, opened up right at 360, kind of failed a break of the high of the day, tried to get above 365 again, and then dumped. Once it was beneath, this is the halt price at 360, I just started shorting underneath with a stop at 365. I stopped taking more short when the spread consistently stayed at 4 to 5 cents in a really cheap stock. Because suddenly, 355 to 335, which is 20 pennies, thinking that you're risking 10 cents, if the spread opens up, you could actually be punching into like a 15 to 20 cent loss if there's nothing above 365. So I stopped adding to the position. It's bouncing off VWAP here. If it flushes through VWAP, I might hold on to a piece just to see if it can go down to $3. But Forza, another small cap runner from earlier. Netflix, I do like that 402 if we get it. So someone just said the proper enunciation is Forza. D-Lo, thank you very much. It is Italian, apparently, which I didn't know. I did not know that. The only thing I know about this company is they make electric boats, because you guys were saying that.
Yeah,
and then
sounds like
you also said something about, was this true?
What?
Like these guys had the issue with
a fire?
a fire? Is that
No,
true?
no. I said it sounds like a fire
Oh.
hazard.
Oh, okay.
To have like a battery in the ocean.
Okay, gotcha.
With like the salt water and stuff.
So I thought like there had been an accident.
Oh, there had been. No, not that I'm aware of.
Obviously not today because it's up. But.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, no, that Netflix trade though, I had the idea of going short through 399 today off the open. I was busy with Meta, I think, this morning, so I didn't take that. But yeah, that probably would have bamboozled me and then gone for that couple dollar move. But yeah, clearly along today. I had the idea to short a lot of large caps today based on the market move yesterday, and like really. During this strong uptrend on tech stocks, why are you thinking short after one day of dip? You probably want to be thinking, buy the dip like all investors are probably thinking about. So yeah, bad bias today for me on the large caps, but thankfully stayed out of the way of this short.
Oh, that's right. We are done. Netflix was the last one, so we can get into it here. Obviously, I mean, the market is making some moves, but a lot of the action has been in the smaller cap names. You're going to be on that CVNA there. I don't think Forza is going to do too much out there. I know some people have been saying, what do you do with Apple at 180? So look, Apple's at 180 again, but it's not like when it was at 180 before, where it was automatically. What you pick a side. You're just shorting 97, 98, 99 and scalping that trade, or you're waiting for it to break out. I don't think it's as simple today because there isn't size on the up unless something's changed. Like there's 45,000 shares on NASDAQ book, so I don't think it's even that big of a level. on Apple. So unfortunately, it's not going to be one of those, yeah, just sit in front of it and it'll be obvious and you can short 99s. I still think that's probably available for the scalp trade. I was looking to see if it would press up and maybe get right in there again. It just got to 99. I'm kind of convincing myself I should, although last time I was scalping small and hoping breakout big, and so that literally it worked out almost to the penny. Every dollar that I made scalping the 10, 20, 30 cent short, I lost it all by going 5x long
On the big,
on the break. So I chose both directions last time, and then if I'd stayed with the short, it was great. But I feel like this is different. There's not as much size here.
Yeah.
The way that we're reacting today, where you had 1 day of dip in the overall market and you're coming back. Well, Apple has dipped for a couple of days now. It's a bit different for Apple. It's got overhead resistance off of 180. 181 was yesterday's high, not 180. So there's a lot about that level that sets it up for at least a scalp break long.
Yeah.
That was different from last time.
I think like just the fact that it's been through 180 the last few days, I don't see the idea of like, you know, going big size long on this right now for a breakout because, you know, we've seen this level 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row, maybe even 5 days in a row.
I want to say,
actually. Yeah, we have. So we've basically been diddling with 180 for like a week. Yeah.
6 days.
So I don't think that there's necessarily like that much edge around that 180 price anymore because it's just violating it, you know, every day. So
Ooh, violating. I like that. I like the violator reference there. So yeah, people ask, why did Carvana go crazy today? It was just they essentially updated financials that suggested it was, how big was there was a 50 million EBITDA profit and 6,000 adjusted gross revenue per unit were the numbers that they gave out on Carvana.
That sounds really good, actually. $6,000 per unit.
No, but hold on a second. Let me see. 6,000 adjusted gross profit. What the hell is adjusted gross profit?
That probably means that they're taking out
I know
interest.
what gross profit. You tell me what it is. So whenever I hear adjusted and you don't tell me what the adjustment is, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I know what gross profit is. I don't know what your adjusted gross profit is unless you tell me what your adjusted gross profit is.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, Carvana's up because it's squeezing on those numbers, and it very well might be like funny money, financial nonsensical. I have no idea. You really don't know. Like, does Uber actually turn a profit? No, but they've got EBITDA profits every now and then.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, you know, a squeeze stock squeezes and you get long.
Baby.
I think, you know, that's basically the only way to play it. You know, the market tells you which way it wants to go with something. You got to believe it sometimes. And if you don't, you know, maybe you can make some money on the short. I think that you could have been scalping long and short today and been making money on Carvana. There's been lots of movement.
I'd agree.
To both sides.
All right,
I'm
going to take this only because I have.
What are you taking?
It's Apple.
Oh, the Apple. All right, the Apple off 180. Yeah, you could definitely.
Not the break.
There is some size there actually.
It's not that much.
Yes, so you could.
Where's my level?
Short it there.
Here, let me go Apple.
Yeah, breakout. I would say definitely not.
No, I'm not taking the breakout.
Carvana's going for the high again, so that 23.50 price being a pain once again. We are still consolidating, kind of. You know, you do these like small breakouts and then consolidate. But yeah, once we blast off, if we blast off, I guess is the better way to play it, to say it. You know, where are we going? I got like 25 in my head. I'm thinking I might add on a 25 breakout if we get there, but that would be, you know, that'd be aggressive for sure. But I think this is a stock to be aggressive on. So yeah, let's see where this Carvana goes. Need to take out this high, take out 24 pretty quick here.
And if you hit the like and hit the subscribe to get us to 400,000, well, when we get to 400,000 subscribers, we get to have a little bit of fun. So that's just a personal, selfish note there that we're going to have something fun for that. And the other side of it is Carvana goes to $25.
Oh yeah.
So do it for Max.
Do it for me.
Hit the subscribe. Take a second, and Carvana maybe it gets to $25. I'd love to see it get there. I'm literally FOMOing myself. That's not even a thing. Oh, goodness. That's not a thing. I thought maybe 22.50, if it got down there with a 21, like a stop under 21.75, might be about the right risk to reward because at least at that point, so like if you look at, so 22.50, really, like if it gets to 4, that's like 2 to 1 from there to $24, which is kind of the high of the day. So that set up pretty decently. Apple, that did not last very long. So what do I say I'm going to do? I'm going to short 97, 96, 97, but I'm not going to reverse into the long. So I get in, I get out, and it's not doing anything. So no breakout off the level, no break the level and immediately drop back down 50 cents. Just break the level and sit here and do nothing. So that's the problem. The Apple level is not nearly as big of a deal here. It's now starting to go a little bit. Like this could be like a consolidation long on Apple, where you can maybe just work along, giving it down to like 179.80. But when you've been back and forth off this, I'd rather be playing dip buys than breakouts, typically if you're looking for the long trade. But that's what it is me. And I'm going to get some more Forts out, because every time it gets to VWAP is basically a gift. See, I should have taken the breakout. We just talked about not taking the breakout.
We did talk about not taking it.
And then the breakout is absolute gold. Like, look at it. Yeah, I'm going to short and lose 4 cents, but I won't take the breakout, which last time it was at this level, I took it 5 times the break long that I wanted it short. Oh, well, not today.
I've been having so much fun in Carvana that I actually forgot I was long AMD. But it's come right to the profit-taking level that I had discussed back on the midday show, that 121. So I'm going to just take some profit here at 94 if I can get it. If I can't, I guess I'll just like punch that one out as the bot's trying to front run me again, but not scared, not scared. We'll take it out at 94 once it gets there. I'm thinking that we can get into like this 120, 125 kind of price. I'm not saying that AMD is going straight back to the high today, although this breakout on ES is looking kind of good at the moment, going for that 4,300. So potentially we do get back into 122 today, and hopefully I am still long if that does happen. Carvana is just doing the same thing, messing around with an even dollar level over and over again. So that 23 price is now the that 23 price is now the problem on Carvana, just chopping around that price. So this is just what we do now. We get to 22, we chop around it. We get to 23, we chop around it. So if the same thing happens, I'm going to be sitting in this trade for about 2 hours, and then it's going to blast off to 25. So.
Speaking of blast off, so a firm's going to 19, but I actually was going to mention Upstart as well. So Upstart just broke 33. I don't know if it's still there. This has been I said I had a lot of charts that look like this: short win, short lose, short lose, short lose, short win, and then it continues to go up. I think you're going to get. I guess it wants $20 here today, which in all irony, in the fact that yesterday when I'm like it's a short up in front of 20, I then did absolutely nothing about it. Went over to trade Dave & Buster's, which I had not even looked at in a year, instead of a firm. And then the day that a firm does the 1 down day, hold 16, double bottom, let's go, probably should have reversed it there. At least I waited for the shorts at the right places. So it's one of those days where for every win, there's a loss. So I'm basically going nowhere on the stock. If you're going long, all you're doing is churning. That's the other way to look at it, right? So if it gets up here, I cannot possibly be looking for a long in a firm this close to 20 bucks. I think you could have found yourself long at 18. For sure I can admit that. Like these 18 levels, that's pretty good. 17 and a half here looks pretty good. You have so much room to get to the top. Up at the actual high, I don't know about that. And Upstart was what I was sort of getting at before I led into that, because I had to show a firm. Like it's insane, it's ridiculous. Upstart just broke 33. Like it was a 32 and a half break earlier, which was a mess. The 32 and a half break to 33 to 32 to 33 to 32. Then now it's breaking out 33. So it just kind of shook everybody out for a while and is now continuing the move to the upside. This has, I'm not taking anything away from Carvana, but really this has some room to go. Like 33 to 38 is not nearly as big, but it's got some levels on the daily chart that it's trying to churn through. Maybe a little bit more of a consolidation break off the bottom and a slow grind to the upside without any completely insane moves, I would say. It's a little bit more in the pocket, but then it's not as crazy of a company. Like there's more there.
That was probably an easier long today. It's just basically going straight up versus the consolidate sideways and then go.
Right. But who was looking at the stock this morning?
Yeah, nobody.
That's the problem. I don't think anybody that was looking at that, congratulations to you. Okay, Carvana, is this going to be...
Here we go.
Is it running the high now?
Here we go. Looking at that 24. The volume's really popping off now on Carvana. So
it's gone.
Yeah. New high again by like 1 penny, I think, or is that a clean double top at 81 there? Hard to say, but here we go. I think 23.80 break right now leads you directly into 24, and then we'll see what happens after that. If we halt up, there's going to be one guy at this desk at least who's laughing, and that's going to be me. Carvana. I mean, so it was going to halt at $20.40 here, or 50.
No, this was 21.12.
21.12. So is this a 5% halter then? Because it went from 20 to 21 in 1 minute.
It was a 5% move.
So then it's a 5% halter. So all we need really is like a $1.20 move or something on this.
The only reason I know that price is because that's the price I was long.
Yeah, because you were there. Yeah.
I was long at the theoretical halt price on Carvana, which didn't actually end up happening.
So yeah, I guess like 25 would be a halt on Carvana right now if we did get there. That could be a very interesting halt.
But if it dips first though and consolidates, then it's not really a halt level.
Yeah.
25 is a very interesting halt. I'd rather, if I FOMO into this, I'd rather have been 22.50. Now that probably sets up more like 23 to 23.5 with a stop underneath 22.75. Like fail that level and then show that it's never actually going to go down, and then just try to join the long. But even at that point, like I'd probably just still end up scalping it because I feel like I'd be buying too high.
Yeah.
So that's like, and I was saying to someone in the chat, it's like almost every stock I have, it's like 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, and that's how it's been going. So even Carvana, it's like flat trade, loss, win. A little more size there, so overall not going to end up working out for me. But the trades are there for you, that's for sure. Forza's useless to look at. Apple's doing absolutely nothing. I want to go to NVIDIA for a quick second here, because I kind of glossed over this one. I did have short on this, didn't absolutely love it when it was bull flagging up, so kind of took it out. Got into one off 85 and was pretty much in and out flat really quickly, was mentioning that to you guys. It's still just trend up on NVIDIA. The 87 level is the one that I liked anyways this morning, so that's the one I ended up taking. If NVIDIA takes out the top, you can pretty much forget about it. And Tesla's at the top too. See, Tesla's another stock where, okay, lose, win, win. It's like a 50-50 proposition. Yeah. Every single one of my stocks today is just one win, one loss, going in one direction. I'm not really averaging into them or like forcing it. Like I'm taking the entries all at the same area and then just sort of giving it up if it breaks the high, take it and then make it. But if you think about it, the reason why I'm kind of showing you guys that, A, because those are my trades, so let's be honest about it.
Oh, 24
and B,
on Carvana.
Because all you're doing is going to the upside. It's easier to go long.
Carvana just took out 24 now to the upside.
There's size at 90.
Yeah, there's someone trying to get filled there at 90. I'm betting that they do get filled, but if not, that person's punching probably.
Let's see if they do.
Yeah, let's see. That 90 price going to be key here potentially. Obviously, the double top at 80 is going to be a key price. Don't want to see this breaking back below 23, I think, now that we are up at 24. But here we go. Still lots of green prints, people buying the you-know-what out of this. And that person, as Neil says, not getting filled at all. So, yeah, 24.10 now the breakout price. See what happens here. 25 still the target. As it touches that size but doesn't fill it.
They're getting it.
Ooh.
There it is. There it is.
Okay,
they got the fill.
They are filled. So let's see what happens after that. If it gets filled and trades below, then it's probably going to go down. But if we just bid right back up, you expect it to stay on this trend.
Exactly. Like if you hold a bit, they filled at 90. If it holds above 24, that's a pretty bullish sign.
Yeah.
The same thing happened on NIO at like 738 the other day. It bottomed at like 720 something, made a consolidation to 725 to 740. Somebody just got on the bid for 500,000, or a ridiculous amount of shares at 38. Got the fill. Then a big dark pool went off, even bigger than that, and then it just started going to the upside. Like it didn't come down, so it had to go up. So AMD daily, someone wants there. Did they just jump back in again?
Yeah, there's someone there again on 90, so someone's really trying to get filled.
Price.
And they get the fill there.
Now they got 55,000 shares or whatever that worked out to. Okay.
Interesting action, but we're still bidding up. So what is that person trying to do? How many shares do they need to fill here? We're back at the 24 level. I'm trying to not do anything here because I have this big picture idea. but that's always kind of hard. So
I'm trying to not go long 24 with a 50 stop. That's what I'm trying not to do. 'Cause I don't want to be long at the high. I do not want to be long at the high of the day, not at 24.
Yeah, and like at these even dollar levels, it has been bamboozlement all day. On Carvana. So if this is the one that does hold, then people who are short, who are trying to improve their price, are not in a good spot, obviously. But I'm not really expecting this 24 level to go crazy right now. However, we are holding above 24, holding above those 50,000 shares or whatever that somebody just loaded at 23.90. So looking still ridiculously bullish, and a ton of green prints going off on Carvana.
That is a sick move. I'll give you guys a quick update because whatever. I'm almost out of this thing now, finally. So there was one push on a VWAP for Forza, so I'm now out of it. I'm not all out of it, but I'm not going to hold on to much here. Just got to VWAP. It's taking forever. The volume's dead. It had a halt up, failed to halt, and then back to VWAP. It's at 330. My short's at 55 and then 57. Now Carvana is holding 24s. Oh, yeah. See, I should have just FOMO'd into it, right? FOMO works. Always FOMO into trades, they say. No, I'm not going to. You have to stick to your sort of rules, right? Like, it's just, the trade at 21 is what it is, and I'll look back on it and hate myself because if I just gave it more room, you always say that, it would have been fine. But trading, like, you're either taking a break or you're taking a halt trade, and those are two very different things because you're probably sizing it differently and having a different stop out. The halt trade you're taking with the anticipation that you're not having to cover it until 5 minutes later. Wherever it happens to open, not, oh my goodness, it's now back in this liquidity vacuum and I have to get out of it. So. Did you? I didn't see on the offer.
On the offer at 30 there? Yeah, he did. It was definitely reserving 30 for a minute there. So, crazy, crazy price action.
Anybody scalping 50,000 for 40 cents on Carvana up here is crazy. But you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you're long and you're taking that much size at 23.90, you really, you should be making a bigger move because if it goes down, oh, well, look at the offer here. Look at them stack the offer. Somebody just stacked the offer. That's like an algo kind of thing. There's order types out there where you can, essentially it smooths your order out. Like if you put 25,000 or 40,000, you hit it, and then instead of putting it to the dark pools, it puts it on like 4 lit venues for you, and sometimes it just puts all the same. Or it's just a lazy algorithm that someone just filled 50,000 shares again by spreading out, and they got that fill. So there is somebody scalping up here, and that's a bit of a messy trade. Coin high of the day, let's go to something. I can stare at it all day long. It's just causing me FOMO, quite frankly. Coin high of the day, not at 56. If it was at 56, that was the Alamo on the downside. So here's 56 on the daily. On Coinbase, everything loads up. I do like that. If it starts filling in the gap, that was the area that I was waiting for the short trade. This could just be a breakout, but I haven't been looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is breaking out a little bit here. Is this going to work? Every time I do this and then I resize it, see what happens. I mean, Binance has its own problems, not just this chart, so I shouldn't be griping about the Binance chart when they got their own issues right now. But look, bit of a breakout on the 15-minute, so coin above 55 looks okay. That's a breakout that actually makes some sense. Put that back. Yeah, if it can get through 55, there's room to 56. 59 is a problem because then you're filling in the entirety of the gap from the lawsuit, SEC lawsuit. But 55 break I can do.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this has happened a bunch of times on these tech stocks where they get the short reports out on them, or they get bad news, and then everybody's loading in short, and then suddenly we're back up to the lows of prior price action, which makes no sense. Yeah, Square came all the way back from, what was it, down 35% or something crazy.
Oh, hopefully my daily will load. So here's the Square one, and I remember because we were looking at this and saying, well, I mean, if it bounces off the higher low on the daily, and this was 58. So look at that. So Huadu's under, opens up above 58, comes right back to the 200 period. That's 58 to 59. 70. And the trade on these is a swing. It's not really a day trade. It's more of a swing trade. If it makes the low and then holds the low, you just look for it. So it holds the low in the pre-market. You look for the long. If it consolidates, better. But here, you're probably having to take it at 60, stop to the low of the day, and then I don't know where you want to get out. This one might not have gone enough to do better than 2 to 1. Ideally, it's going to make a bigger move up. But you got to think, when the short report comes out, isn't that like the whole notion, and again, I'm not a short seller. Day trading, you can do it, but I think that they're trying to cover after.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
the idea. They're trying to cover after the report comes out.
Yeah.
So if it makes a higher low immediately after that quadroon to the downside, well, they're probably scrambling to get out for the next couple of days.
Exactly.
And anybody else that was short was probably trying to do that. So I'm going to take a coin 65 break. I'll probably give it maybe 20, 25 cents or so to see how it goes. Carvana is still making power moves right now, but we do have Frank Cabernet. Let's go to the desk with Brendan.
He is ready to go. Yeah, we'll get a preview and a tee up here, guys, for what is to come next week. We'll start with this week because some things happened that we need to be aware of this week as well, heading into not only Tuesday next week with CPI, but then we get the very next day PPI, and then in the afternoon it's Fed Chair Powell, senior strategist over at IG in the U.S. in Chicago. Frank Cabernet back with us this afternoon too. Walk us through what's happening here, Frank, because it seems as though there's a correlation that has changed a little bit, specifically with the way yields are moving and the way tech specifically has moved over the past couple of weeks. But we'll get into that. Give us your thoughts here on the Bank of Canada coming out of nowhere. I mean, 2 in a row they paused, and then we get a quarter point earlier in the week on top of what you were mentioning on Tuesday with Australia.
Yeah, I'm sure at this point your viewers are probably like, this guy again, he wants to talk about interest rates. Not only is he going to talk about interest rates, he's going to talk about interest rates in Australia and Canada. What the heck even goes on here? But Australia and Canada leading the way. And as we'll get to here in a second, interest rates having a significant pull on stock markets. And it used to just be financial stocks. Now it's pulling technology stocks along as well. But we'll get into those correlations here in a second. I crunched some numbers for you all. So it's not just rate talk, it's rate and stocks. But first, let's start with Canadian interest rates as they surprised. Second surprise of the week. I mean, Brendan, we rarely see these surprises out of central banks. You and I, in our storied relationship here, we constantly joke about how the Fed here in the U.S. and central banks in Canada, Australia, Eurozone, UK, Japan, they rarely surprise. 2 surprises in 1 week. Australia hikes 25 basis points higher than expected earlier in the week. Canada yesterday goes from 4.5% to 4.75% out of nowhere. The Canadian dollar rallying, doing quite well over the course of the last couple of sessions. But what was really interesting is we saw more than 100 pip rally in Canadian dollar versus USD. Here in this chart, USD falling relative to Canadian dollar, but dollar did bounce back yesterday. Dollar's given some ground today to British pound and some other currencies. But I think the idea here is that Australia and Canada are leading the way a little bit here, or at the front of a trend that the U.S. might follow through with. I mean, you look at the odds for June and July, and the odds for June up to 30% now, chance that they hike 25 basis points in a week. Brendan, last week, it was less than 20% chance, and now it's up to 30% chance. And though that might seem small, they're thinking that by July, there's a more than 50% chance that they will have hiked. So if not June, the market thinking July at least, as central banks in Canada and Australia obviously aren't done. And now the market thinks that the U.S. isn't done either. As you can see here, 65% chance that we will have had this hike either at next week's meeting or by July's meeting. And this is up 55 percentage points from a month ago. And a month before that, when we were looking at this stuff, it was, 30, 40, 50% chance of an interest rate cut. But the script is flipped a little bit on how this is relating to the stock market, if you want to get into some correlations, my friend.
As well as far as what happened with the market itself. And I want to touch on that. But if we go back to what happened this morning, first, even with these weekly jobless claims that come in, the highest level since 2021. So, and then the market moves higher on that data, continuing claims the opposite direction, which was a little bit contradictory, but giving us an indication of maybe, as you said, the tale is changing here. The commentary is changing a little bit back to bad news being bad news, good news being good news. And then what happens if we get, on Tuesday, a higher print on CPI once again? Do these numbers dramatically change? And if so, how much?
Yeah, absolutely. It really feels like we were in a little bit of this, good news in terms of high job numbers, and inflation obviously isn't good from a personal level, but is a sign that the economy is moving around. Those were all bad for the stock market and everything else for the majority of last year. But yeah, as you see here in this chart, something changed here in April. And of course, you can spend hours doing economist type work trying to figure out what exactly it was. Maybe it was just a matter of time. Like we talked about on Tuesday a little bit, if you go back to the last time we were in this high of an inflationary period, late 70s, early 80s, after about a year or so, inflation kept bringing interest rates higher, but the stock market actually rebounded and started to perform quite well in those later years of inflation being high for 5 or 6 years there. So maybe it was timing, maybe it was the regional bank crisis occurring and kind of bringing interest rates lower and the stock market lower. And then when they started to regain some ground there and fear came out of the stock market, interest rates moved higher and stocks moved higher. Whatever it was, Brendan, you see there that the NASDAQ has been trending with interest rates for the last month and a half. As to your point, good data that spurs interest rate projections higher, what used to bring tech stocks especially lower, is now bringing them higher. And I crunched the numbers on some of the correlations here between interest rates and various stock markets. And of course, you would expect that there's a high correlation between interest rates and financial stocks. They're at 0.72. That's real high. That's about as high as it gets when you're comparing two markets that aren't in the same asset class there. The Russell 2000, small to mid cap stocks, high correlation with interest rates, 0.63. S&P 500, a very well-rounded stock index there, positive 0.52. But I was surprised when I checked these correlations a couple months ago, interest rates were negatively correlated to NASDAQ. And that makes sense, right? Interest rates move higher. Growth stocks can no longer borrow at lower interest rates. It's a deterrent to their growth. But now the script is flipped. And it's not even that the NASDAQ is positively correlated by 0.1 or 0.2, 0.35. That's a real nice correlation in there, and quite a journey from negative territory to positive. As what's good for the economy, what's good for interest rate projections. And even though they're moving higher and maybe a slight deterrent for tech stocks borrowing money and moving forward with amplified growth, is still at its core, remember, the reason that these numbers are high, the economic data, and the interest rate projections are moving higher, is because people are spending money and the economy is functioning well. So it is becoming more and more of that good news is good news for the stock market. So it'll be really interesting to see, not only if inflation comes out higher than expected, will the tech market and will the stock market at large rally with a higher than expected number? If the Fed comes out like Australia and Canada and surprises next week and hikes interest rates, you might see an initial knee-jerk reaction lower in the stock market, and you might see overall bullish sentiment set in. That's at least what we've seen for the last month or so. We'll see if this is a blip or the start of a new trend.
Yeah, and a change regardless. And I think, we were talking a little bit around here at lunchtime on, up to this point, the importance of the press conference that followed the interest rate decision was enormous. And what was he going to say as to what was going to come next? But it seems like that script has changed a little bit. And maybe, more so we'll be looking at the actual number versus what he has to say after the fact. Maybe something we can touch on before that comes out on Wednesday when we speak next on Tuesday. That's the Bank of Canada hike here earlier in the week got us to 20-year highs as far as interest rates in this country. So it's been a long time since we've seen the 4.75, as you showed earlier. I don't know where, I don't know, I'll put you on the spot here. I don't know where the U.S. is at this point historically, and if we get another quarter point, what that means.
Yeah, we're right now toying with, I believe, 20-year highs for short-term interest rates. If we can climb higher than 5.5%, 6%, that brings us all the way back to the 90s. So yeah, we're right there in terms of extremes. And I think a lot of people are so it's funny, you bring it up in one sense. The market always reminds you that it's cyclical in so many different ways. The last 5 years, it's all been what the Fed chairperson is going to say, not necessarily what they're going to do. And now that's changing, where the uncertainty is around what they're going to do before what they say. And we're seeing that cyclicality also play out here in interest rates as well, where you might think of these, oh my gosh, 5-6%. I haven't seen this in my adult life. And we've seen this same environment in the 90s and 2000s. But that being said, it would be a 30-year extreme if we get back up to 6%. A hike next week would just get us to 5.5%. But yeah, everybody's so worried about the stock market and everything else. Of course, those are things that we're going to watch all the time. But neglecting, what'll be 20 to 30-year extremes in the interest rate market.
Important week to come. Lots of data, as we were saying, to get us to the Fed on Wednesday with CPI and PPI as well. Should be an exciting one to come. Thanks as always. Frank Caberna, Senior Content Strategist over at IG in Chicago. Great to see you as always.
Thanks, Brennan.
Thank you very much. And as usual, Frank rallies the markets. And I'm like, keep talking, keep talking. I just got into Apple. I want the market to go up. No, it's a strange thing. Anyone that's been watching, you guys know we love to get that higher level look and get the macro look from Frank. And of course, it's timely with the Fed coming next week. And the market has a tendency to go up in the 10 to 15 minutes. I don't know, like, it's anecdotal, but I feel like I've been observing that it's true. So let's just go with it. But Apple was going to the upside. It didn't take the break. So of course, on the way back in, I'm going to grab some 180s. It dipped down to 179.80. That was the area I wanted to see hold. So once that happens, I'm willing to go with some higher lows here. Probably give it down into that 180. I did get in a coin as well. So Coinbase also trending to the upside. You know, a lot of times, so it ran into that 55 level, didn't actually break, gives the dip, holds the previous high area. So I'm like, yeah, well, why wait for the breakout when you can just get in on the dip instead of having to take the high break? Because you know how well the high breaks have gone for me today. Not well at all. Thank you very much, Carvana. Carvana is still going to the upside. And this is just, I have a question for somebody in the chat here. I'm gonna throw it up because I've seen a couple of times, now I can't find it because who is it that's, there it is, BA. If Carvana breaks 2307 today, 100% it's going to 2011. Now, I was guessing you were throwing the 2011 out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you're looking at the fibs. So that would be the 50%, whoops, CVNA. CVNA, these won't be there. I drew it, and now it's going to be gone. Let's get that off. So I'm guessing you're going with like the 50% fib retracement. Like if I draw this, let's just get really lazy here. So that's like 20, you said 2011. Is that the case? Are we looking, is you really just looking at that retracement? So what's the deal with 2307 is only my question. Because I could see that. Like that's one of those, I mean, we talk about there being obvious lines out there and that kind of a thing. We saw the other day it was Coinbase.
Yep. Yeah, almost exactly.
Wish I was looking at Fibonacci's that day,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'm guessing that's what you're sort of looking at. I'm not really sure what 2307 has to do with anything. And I understand like setting up, I do it all the time, setting up ideas for retracement plays, putting on a short, this is the target, this is where it should go to. Like literally the only one of them that's been clean and worked is Forza. And you know what? The reason I think this one worked is because it wasn't a, let's just get short in the uptrend off of like a technical thing. Let's wait for it to halt and fail to halt. It was a halt trade. So very different from the other runners up there. This halted and then failed the halt level. So yeah, I was just curious out there. I have no idea what it is in your plan. So I took some out in front of 55 in case Coinbase doesn't actually break. Let's get something out in front of 55, hold some more for the break of 55 even, and then see how far. 56 to 59, I think it's going to have some trouble. Quite frankly, if it gets to 59, I'm 100% going to be short. because that's filling in the entire gap from the report. But 56 to 59, I want to try to hold something till at least we get to that. So we'll see what happens. If you're wondering where Sean is, that is Anthony Kerr asking. Sean is, well, I think he's golfing on Saturday, but his brother-in-law's in town. So they have a big weekend plan, and he's going to be at the ball game tomorrow. I think they got some stuff they're doing in the middle of the day, but he's going to be at the Jays game, then they're golfing, so he's taking some time off to enjoy it. Maximilian has stepped in here, thankfully on the day that Carvana's going, and he's got it long, because it would suck if nobody had the Carvana long right now.
Yeah, you got to have some longs for the program, and I made a decision in the last half an hour that I'm taking the 25 break if we get there. Adding to this position, I think, 25 key level, and that gives me like that, 25 is a very round level, so I think if it fails 25, I want to be out of the other shares anyway, so I'm not really like concerned about that messing up my current trade. I think 25 fail is a good reason to get out of the shares that I have, so I can add on it without worrying about messing up the trade. So, 25 break is the play that I'm going to take. Not going to hold that one against me. I think you could probably flush down $1 plus off of 25 if that doesn't come in.
I'd say halt down is a potential off 25, so whatever the 5. So I'd almost say like it's $1.25.
Yeah. So I won't be holding that against me.
50 cent stop?
No, like 10.
10? Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, I think I would have a stop set more for a halt, like a halt thing. Like if you're taking the halt trade, like you stop it out right underneath.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what I would do with the 25.
Exactly.
Probably should have done that with the 24. I want to get to Meta very quickly. We're already in power hour. That reminded me. I'm just internal reminder alert. So we are. I have to do this to be able to see the sub count because my screen blocks it. So we are 155 subs away from 400,000. So thank you everybody for getting us this close. But I am authorized to tell you that there is a bit of a reveal. That we have something that's coming down the pipe that is going to be big and that is going to be new for Trader TV Live. And the okay has been made that I can tell you guys what it is if we get to 400,000. We were going to wait until we're actually launching it, but if we get to 400,000, that will be the launch. So you guys let us know by hitting that subscribe, get to 400,000, and I can tell you guys what's going to be happening. I'm excited for it. We're excited for it. I know it should be a heck of a lot of fun. So it's something you guys want to hear about. Back to the markets. Let me not draw more Fibonacci lines because I don't really want them. Actually, Max, I don't know if you know this in P Pro 8. There's this thing that happens every now and then, like I draw a fib line, and then if I delete it, and then I go away from the stock, go back to the stock, it comes back.
So it's the only line that actually stays in the system?
Yes. And so that happened to me on something where like every time I then came back to the stock for the rest of the day, I had to delete the fibs and I had to get rid of them. So I don't really use them. There was a point during, it was last year, where I was all over every single gap up small cap name. I was testing out like a fib retracement strategy, like looking for entries on pullbacks and then like where you take profits on it. And I found that it was no better than just whatever else you were normally looking at. So I think there is some merit to it in the fact that other people look at it because that's what indicators are all about, but not much else. Meta is doing absolutely nothing, going sideways. But if it cannot hold on to this 264.5, come to my chart for a second here. Can you come to my chart for a second? Please. Maybe. Can we? I don't know. Is it possible? Yeah, there we go. I know you guys are busy right now. So there's 264.5. If we can, no? Oh, there we go. Nope. Yep. There it is. So yeah, so there was a breakout earlier today. It feels like it's already Friday. There was a breakout there today off this level, and then you've been barcoding off this 264.5. If this does not hold, I think it's an easy reversal into the short. The futures are making a lower high. Meta's trailing the NASDAQ, so lower high in the futures. Significantly lower support level here on Meta. If it does not hold on to this, it was a good level earlier for the upside. Now it could be coming back down, and I do like Meta for some shorts. Apple now is a punk. It's kind of, oh, got a bad wick there. Apple is starting to come back in. I got in creatively enough at 180 in front of that. But the support's down here underneath 179.80, so I'll probably stop it out under 75. If it goes sideways and starts bouncing again, that's where I'd have permission to myself to add to it. and I have no idea what Brankles just yelled.
He said
Hopefully
that he's in love with me.
yes. Where is it now?
Oh
my God,
the door.
25 break.
We are knocking on the door here. I'm getting a little nervous because we're going to be adding a decent amount of size with this 25 break. Hopefully the algos are listening. Try to get me, algos. Just try. See what happens.
They're running this
is
for sure.
This is going nuts. That so that offer that was like a few hundred lots on multiple gateways, it turned out to be 300 lots on 3 different gateways. So like about 1,000 lots, which is 100,000 shares.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
what?
that is 100,000 shares got filled on the offer at 24.55.
Oh,
so
right, yeah.
if we continue to hold above that, I would say that's pretty bullish. If we get back below 24.55, that's probably a bearish signal because that person or entity is now winning. But yeah, it's looking pretty good right now.
You just say
Volume
entity?
Well, who knows if it's a
What is it, a
If it's
ghost?
an algo, that's not a human. That's not a person.
fair
You know?
enough. Entity though?
That entity is winning. That whoever they are, whatever they may be. Skynet is winning.
Yeah, there you go.
As we go for that 25 break, yeah, I really do not want this 25 break to go against me at all, so I will be punching out if it doesn't work. But yeah, we are looking like a pure short squeeze into the close on Carvana. Power hour is upon us, and here we go. Squeezing into the close. We've seen this on Bed Bath & Beyond quite a few times. Now we're seeing it on Carvana. So do we break it? It's slow.
It didn't break.
It did not break. I did not get filled on
Did
that
not break.
breakout.
It's going to break. It didn't break though.
It will break. It did
It's
take
gonna
the
happen.
size on the level, but then didn't break it. So a little pullback
have level
and then
two?
a blast through, potentially. Let's see on this one. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't
Coming to
actually
level
get
two,
filled on that
guys.
break. Here we go.
There's some size above here at 25, just so you can see. Like it's not a lot, but there's a few lots under there. Like people want some fills up here. Like there's 2,700 in the 20s. There's 4,000 at 01, 2,000 at 04. Like there's people that actually want to maybe cover, I think, above this. So the long break, it might fill and then immediately run into like just a bit of chop resistance. But yeah, this is not breaking.
This is crazy.
What the heck is going on?
Oh, here we go. There's the break. So holding above 25 for now. Can we pump up? All the breaks have been bad so far, but this one seems like it's good for now in the 20s.
It looks
25,
okay.
come on, keep going, keep going. So I'm out of my prior size. Now I just have the breakout size. Let's see what happens with this one. Looking for a halt up on Carvana, potentially like 26, 27. Let's go, come on. Pump
See all
through.
the people
Lots of
getting
people
out.
taking profit.
Yeah, 21s, people taking 22s. Like they're just all over. They're at 25. Like there's a lot of profit takers on the scalp trade here that you can see. That's just a level 2. So it's a successful break if you're scalp trading it, because if you have a tight stop, you've already gotten like 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. Actually, probably 2-to-1 to the upside, which is kind of how I roll. So I know you're holding for the moon, but not everybody's long. Not everybody's actually long at 21. Some people are long at 25. No, it sounds comical. I'm only saying that because I was long at 21. I just didn't actually win on the trade. It's true.
Yeah, but we are holding 25 right now. So this is probably the longest we've held a level on a breakout for Carvana so far. So this is looking kind of good. I really want this to take out that 25 price really quickly so that I can kind of breathe here and not have to be watching every penny. But yeah, we are definitely holding above for now. But yeah, not going anywhere. I was hoping it would just like kind of blast up into a halt, but yeah, maybe over this 25.25 is the halt. This would be the first successful break, and here we go. All right. Carvana is just, the
stock
best
is
today.
absurd.
Here we go. I'm not covering anything. I'm waiting. This is a pure short squeeze. Where's the diamond hands thing?
Oh, it's hold on a second. Where the hell is it? There it is.
Oh baby,
I don't have the actual diamond hands.
Let's go.
Holy
All right.
crap.
Oh yeah,
This
there's
stock
the
is
short
absurd.
squeeze. Here
Now
we go,
it's
baby.
squeezing.
Here we go. 26.
You kidding me? This
26
stock-
incoming. Sometimes the market is just fun. Today's one of those days. Hopefully we don't just quad duke here. I should probably get the stop in on
It's
Carvana
actually
right now.
pronounced quadunk. If you got to feel it in your throat, like you're Patty and Selma from The Simpsons. So but basically up here at 75, that's not how I roll. I'm not holding it into a halt at this point. So I'm just scalping out of this one. Coinbase is trying to break 55, but who cares? Carvana is going to the moon right now. Apparently, there are levels on the daily chart. We are far away from anything that's significant until you get to, like, you call it like 27, 27 and a half, something like that. The highest close at this level was 26, let me get it right, 2680 is the highest close back in October, the last time we were here. So that feels like a little bit of a level. It's holding above. I'm just going to hold on. We'll see what happens here. I mean, Carvana, I'm probably the jinx because every time every win I've had on Carvana has been followed by a loss and then back and forth. So there's a decent chance that I'm due for an L on this one. But let's see what goes. Let's see what happens. Lots of moves happening, but none more interesting, I think, than Carvana up 67%. And it's just getting started.
Wow, here we go. So yeah, trying to take out that high again. So there's 26. Does it get to 07 there? It got to 07. So where do we halt up on this? Probably like 2680 or something. Yeah, for a halt up. Hopefully we get that. That's what I'm looking for on this one today. Tape flying off everywhere. I just took 10% out there at 95. Really trying to hold this one.
Yeah, there's more out
for the
90.
dream. But yeah, this is very difficult to hang on to when the tape is flying like this. But you know, those are the times where you just got to step up. I think that's when people are caught offside, and being on the right side is the right place to be as we make a new high again through. Did we make a new high? No, not quite.
No, we
yet.
didn't. We haven't broken 2610.
2610, the new breakout level here.
9.
Yeah, 09.
I mean, who cares? It's like 1 cent doesn't matter. So what you see, if you look at the level 2, like there's just a lot of, like the reason it keeps popping and fading is like people are throwing offers. It broke 26, and when it came back underneath, there's like a lot of profit takers. So like you see the thousands and the 5,000 orders coming back, the same ones that you saw at like 25. It has not done a real pullback. So if it pulls back in, the pattern has been if it consolidates and holds the previous break, then the long is still on. That break to me is not 25. That was actually 24.5 was the previous low. So it could actually get underneath 25 and not be done.
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't want to say that's a for sure thing, but it's certainly possible that it could still go even after getting under 25. I'd stop out there anyways, but that's just because how I roll. I'm in Apple, but it's flat, and Coinbase is kind of pulling back in here. Carvana is slowing down. Is anything else moving?
Tesla just took out high of day, so we're going for 234 on Tesla.
Oh, no way.
That, I talked about
seriously?
231 on Tesla being a great dip trade when we were on the midday when it was here, and came in again to that 231. I missed that, but that's a banger once again. Up to that 23 plus price. Back to Carvana. Got to be watching this one like a hawk. Still in the 80s, so Carvana looking good. I got 30% out, 70% left for the dream. I think we could quite easily see $27 today. I don't know what the ultimate crazy short squeeze price could be, which is why I'm trying not to take too much profit. My stop is currently on 25 even, so I don't even want to see it touch 25 at this point. I think even like
that's one of those
25.20 should be the stop.
If it sees it, it's going to fill it.
Yeah, it's going to break it for sure.
Because what ends up happening there, like just to finish that thought, because there's actually a valid reason why sometimes you put a stop like that above 25 instead of below. It's because once it ticks 25, so many people have their stop underneath it that you're basically throwing away an extra 25 cents or something like that. It's just extra slippage. Whereas if it sees the bid and you're already out, it's probably breaking it anyways. It's actually one of those things, like when a stock's breaking $1, if you're long at 101, sometimes you really just want to punch out and hit the one when there's like a few million shares there. You don't let it see 99 because that's just going to screw you. And then you're filled at like 97, and that's 3% that you lost. So that's the notion behind it there. Because sometimes I know what happens is like you'll say something smart, and it's like, no, but it's a day. That's like a day trader thing, right? Like it really does matter sometimes that you're not waiting until everybody else's stop is run to get it.
Yeah, like I just don't see the point in wasting the 20 cents there. And honestly, even if I see it like in the teens, I'll probably just punch out of it. But yeah, I think the bids just keep stepping up. I am not really concerned about getting stopped out of this trade. I'm more concerned about where to take profit as we get back into the 80s again. I love this action.
It just
lots of selling, and it just keeps going up. So that's what you want to see. People just bidding up, reserves everywhere. Things are going crazy. Hopefully we can halt up if we break this high now, because like this last one was crazy, right? The 25-25 breakout was crazy. If this one's even crazier, then we'll get a halt up, very likely.
So here's the one question. It's 3:15 now.
Yeah.
And everyone watching, first of all, welcome. This is Trader TV Live, and Carvana's going absolutely nuts. But we're day trading, and at a day trading prop floor, you have to be flat at the end of the day, which does mean the stock could go to 40 tomorrow, but at 4 o'clock we have to be out of it, or reasonably soon after that. So if it gets to 340, 350, at that point, okay, so it hasn't pulled back in. You're still giving it the run. Give it to 4.
Yeah, I
Give
think
it to
so.
4 p.m.
Because the thing is, like, if you got to assume that other people want to cover before 4 o'clock if they're short, or they're taking the market on close order, which, I mean,
Good luck with that on Carvana.
Yeah, there's going to be no liquidity there to
there's
get
no
out. So, like, if you are short and you are scared, you probably have to get out in the next 45 minutes. And, you know, I want to be there while those people are covering and not helping them get out. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to give this every inch that I can to get as high as it can. But, yeah, I mean, I understand. Like, if we start just consolidating again before the close,
That's literally what it's doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could do another breakout. Like, how many times do you see, like, small caps or squeeze stocks, and they just, like, blow up into the close because people have to cover and it's sitting at highs? I mean,
this is why people like small cap stocks. It's like, I can't get Apple to go 20 cents.
I think that's why people love Tesla, too, because, you know, it's a large cap and you can get it to go $1.
Well, actually, in Tesla just made a fresh high and then pulled back a little bit. So there's a stair-step action going on, and this is on the market, too. So let's just tail back to the market. I am exactly 180 long on Apple, and it's not doing anything. Coinbase is okay, but it can't break 55. I got a 75 long there. But this is the NASDAQ. It's right at 14.5. And it's a lower high, but it's a trend to the upside, and it's just not going anywhere. So this is why everyone's looking at Carvana or whatever else is going. I checked Upstart, by the way, and I thought maybe there was a sympathy move happening in Upstart, because Upstart was strong too. Upstart's doing absolutely nothing. Like, this is a one-man show right now. It's Carvana, and there were a lot of squeeze names going with it, but I'm not really seeing those following through right now. You guys let me know if anything else is going. I am not in Tesla. I'm long Apple. I have a piece of Carvana, but I scalped it. I'm not really holding out. I mean, long at the top is never, I do not like usually going long at the top, so I had to stop. My stop wasn't 10 cents, it was 20 cent stop, and then I was getting out on the way to 26. So I have Apple long. Coinbase is now not doing anything. It broke 55. I had this long at 75 here. It's now back at 75. I took out 20%, and now it just seems to want to dance around and not go. Apple is making a bit of a move here, so getting back up to the highs. I got a 180 long. I want this thing taking out the top, and then I think there's room, because yesterday on Apple, I mean, we're at 181 at the high, and just a few days ago, we're at 185. So there is room above on Apple. This would have to turn from a 1% to a 1.5% day on the NASDAQ really quick, and for that to be nice. 10 minutes until we get the early look at the imbalances. I guarantee you everyone's only going to care about what's going on with Vana.
Yeah, it did get into the teens and then bid straight back up. So holding the teal for now on Carvana. We'll see what happens.
It's
here.
a little trickier now.
I'm kind of expecting to get stopped out at this point, but I'm not going to move the stop. I'm not going to change anything. Yeah, we will. I will take what is given to me at this point. If we do bid back up above 50 right now, that is looking mega bullish. But yeah, it's looking possibly like it wants to dip, although now printing in the 30s right now. Yeah, I got to just trust the teal here.
You could have just reloaded it.
Trust this this 25 break. I don't want to buy up here again, although, I mean, I am long 25.05 right now.
With a stop that tight, like underneath break even, I'm actually kicking myself for not just being on the bid at like 10 or something.
Yeah, and there is somebody on the bid at 10.
It seems silly. It does seem silly. I understand why people would call it silly. But you're really, depending on what slippage works out to be, you could only be risking 10 to 15 pennies.
Yeah.
And if you get slipped, how bad is it really going to be? Like, the liquidity is much better than you would anticipate.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's,
back into the 60s now.
It's too late now.
So here we go. Somebody trying to get filled on one of those weird orders on 63, expecting that fully to get filled. There it is.
Yeah,
Getting to the
insane.
70s. If you want to short now. and just stop out so that you can pump it even further.
The setup for the shorts at $30.
Yeah.
Because given the time of day, Apple finally, okay, Apple's at the high. I'm gonna take a little bit.
I think a fail break right now could be okay too. Like
A failed high break?
Yeah, 26.10 if it broke that high and then came back in. You could probably do a short off of that. I'm not gonna do that because the bamboozlement on this one has been so crazy.
No, you had to do, if you did the last one, it was okay.
Yeah, like the 24 was good.
Like the 24 fail break was okay. The 26 was solid. The 20, for whatever reason, this one at 23 was actually really good. Like, why in the hell would anybody be thinking fail break at that price? You know, everybody's thinking it at 25 and between 25 and 30, which is why it's really crowded if it happens. So I whined and complained about it for a bit, and Apple got back to the high of the day, and I got one fill, and then it starts turning around again. So that's Apple going 20 cents, which we complained that it couldn't go 20 cents, and then it finally went 20 cents because it's a piece of crap. I know Apple's great, don't get me wrong. 1% on this, and it looks really good. Fred Fakery, I know we're really focused on. And that's my fault too. Like, I'm barely even in Carvana, and even I'm staring at it because it's freaking crazy.
It's like a slot machine. You can't stop staring.
No,
It's
you
like
can't, and that's
the colors are flying.
It's easy to get FOMO in that situation.
Yeah.
Have a look at Microsoft. You're asking about Microsoft. What a great run off the bottom. We'll get that out of the way. So, congratulations! If you went dip buying there, that's been a good long. It's not really moving here. And the 3 minutes not telling me anything. What are we saying on the 15? Way too many wicks is what the 15-minute is telling me. See, this is the problem with Softy is you're still, so the bottom range previously was like a 320, I just went too far back, a 326, like here into like yesterday's low. Can I go back a little further? Does that work? Into, yeah, yesterday's low at like a 322. And it's still in that range. So it hasn't really broken away from previous support that got broken down yesterday's low. It's been an inside day, effectively, for Microsoft. That's not very exciting. The NASDAQ's up 1.1. Softy's inside the bottom end of its range the last 2 weeks, and it will not break out. If anything, I'd say scalp short off the high of the day, but that's too late. And it's 323. I think you want to focus on something moving a little bit more. On the daily chart, great trend, but this is pulling back a little bit more than some of the other names at the highs on big tech. I think that goes without saying. So that 320 area, that's of interest. It's diddling in the middle here. And you know what I feel about diddling in the middle? Oh, what just happened? I just got out of something. No. Well, okay. Well, I know what happened. I know what happened. I got my break-even stop out. I did not reload on Carvana. I just got stopped out. I threw mine creatively. I was long at 3. I just threw my break even. At break even. It didn't really matter. Like whether it broke
So it
01.
just printed 03 and didn't print 00?
It must not have.
Which I am still.
So
I'm
that's
still
like
long.
the odds of that happening are like very, very
That's
slim.
extremely slim.
But it did just happen.
the markets are just.
No, my trigger was 3.
They're giving me luck today for whatever reason.
My trigger was at 3. That's insane. And then you get out and then it held evens. Because that means it triggered 3, filled 2, and then did not break the even. That's nuts.
So that's
Wow.
looking pretty strong right now.
You
Almost
think?
like,
Now it's looking strong?
well, to just not even print 25 there.
No,
Maybe
not
it's
at
gonna
all.
do it now. I don't know what to think. I mean, we're up pretty
there
high.
it is
There we
now.
go. All right, so I'm out of Carvana now. Too bad, as it does kind of hold 99s. I am so tempted to get back in, but I don't think that's the play. It just bounces right off 25.
Nah, yeah, I don't think that's
no, you just gotta wait. If we get into 24.50 and kind of wick down there, that's potential for another long. But yeah, I was really looking for that like explosive move to 27 here. Probably should have gotten more than 30% out on this move up, but you know, whatever.
But you have to think of it this way. How many actual trading days does it do this?
Yeah, and like if I took half out and then it ran to 30, I'd be pretty angry about that.
Exactly.
And that was the trade that I was trying to take. So you got to just live with the trades that you take.
Why didn't it just halt at 21?
Yeah, why couldn't we just halt straight off after 25 and open at
No,
35?
I wanted it halting after the 20 break at 21
Yeah,
even.
yeah,
Like that
that
was
would have been-
because at this morning I think everyone was like, when it breaks, when it finally holds above 20, it's over.
Yeah.
It's game over. And I think if you're a halt trader, you're like the first halt above 20, that's the long. but it never happened. And that's the thing is the halts have not been as money because they're not happening the way that they used to.
Yeah.
So in 2020, like when everything was going meme crazy or not, when something would take out a major level, like essentially would go into a halt, you go long above that breakout, and if it gapped up after that, like it was over because it just halted above resistance on a squeeze stock. And so when it opens higher, all the shorts are just screwed, beyond screwed at that point because they couldn't cover in that 5 minutes, and it just gapped higher. So that's what that trade was, and it hasn't been as good. I'm out at 25. It's at 24.80. So if you waited for the 25, you probably could have had a 99 stop and gotten good liquidity.
Yeah, you probably would have got filled.
Yeah,
like
you would have got
394 there.
Yeah, you would have got a good fill.
Yeah.
I still think it's the right call to get out in front and not worry about it because you already got the dollar move anyways.
Yeah.
Coin doesn't seem to want to hold on, so I got a little bit out there. And then it doesn't seem to want to hold on to the top end of the range. It's about to break down on me. I have my stop underneath 60, so I'll get out of them automatically in boring land. And Apple, which I got to zoom in because there's that wick there. I got out a second time in front of that 20 because it just does not want to move. It doesn't want to break the high and go anywhere. It's just people selling ad nauseum up at that price, which is crazy. My out on coin is pretty much right. How's about nowish if it makes another tick down? Anyone know how's about nowish? That's it's from a Chappelle skit.
I feel like I've seen all of those, all the episodes. There's only two seasons,
There
and then they did the weird
there
one.
was like the third.
Yeah.
My favorite Chappelle show reaction. So my pops is one of those. Like he doesn't mind like Richard. Like, he likes Richard Pryor and he's there without their comedy. But like you can push the limit. And he's like that's not funny anymore. And so I showed him Chappelle, but I showed him the very first episode.
It's blue raspberry. You're gonna hate it.
You don't have a beer for the guy? What the hell is that?
These are the leftovers from Friday, I think.
But like you guys drink this?
Wayner drinks this. I was not particularly
Wayne the Brain.
impressed when I had one on Friday.
Wayne the Brain.
But, I'll drink anything.
No, you won't. Actually, that's not true. Would you drink Everclear?
I have. That didn't go so well. It's pretty disgusting.
I actually had no idea you were going to answer that one in the affirmative,
Well,
to be honest with you.
Not Everclear specifically, but they had this stuff in the Quebec liquor stores, made in Quebec, called Alcool.
Oh, I know.
94%.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So it's the same stuff. It's disgusting. That's
And for anybody that, if you don't know, like, you don't want that stuff. It's so
you
bad.
don't want that.
It's so
You
bad.
can mix it with as much stuff as you want, and it still tastes disgusting.
There's no, like, people do it, you do it when you're young and dumb.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
essentially that. You can have that, by the way. That's all you.
Maybe
That's
with
all you.
a couple minutes to go.
No?
But you don't want to drink and trade, and who knows what happens with Carvana here.
It could still, remember we were talking about, it could still hold the previous break, which was right here at 24.50.
Yeah, 24.50 could provide something for us. We were right at the 50 period on the 1 minute too. So.
But it's not really slowing down here.
Yeah. This is how it's been today, though. I've been kind of on the Carvana crack today, and I've been watching this all day. So if we do like a little wick here down to like the 30s and then instantly rebid 24.50, I might try this one more time.
You're going to celebrate
But
all night, keep on dancing.
Exactly.
If you say something that is a song or like a lyric,
You have
I'm
to.
finishing it or I'm referencing it, that's something you'll have to get used to. But at least you get them. What would always happen is I would get frustrated. So, like Sharif gets some of them,
Yeah.
Arun would get none of them. And so every single time, like he'd say something, I'd drop I drop the next rap lyric, and he'd just sit there and I'd be like, really? You're the right age and all that stuff? Okay. Remind Max of your drink and trade rule. Remember, FYI. M. Kelsey. No, my rule about that was there was a point in my career where I had a 90-something% shutdown or near shutdown rate if I traded the day after a decent amount of drinking.
Okay.
And so I essentially adapted hey, if you have a big night or whatever it might be it's a Thursday. We used to do grad nights on Thursdays for some really dumb reason.
Yeah.
So everyone would come in and have trouble on Friday for obvious reasons. So just, you'd size down and like just understand that it was really bad. And I have a rule for my whoop. Like if I have a recovery under 20%, then I probably shouldn't be trading a lot. And that's just a smart thing to do. But there's nothing against on like a Friday or at the end of the day if you're probably wrapping up your trading.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't even really alcohol, I don't think. This is Vizzy Hard Seltzer. Hint of blackberry lemon. I can't even, sorry. It's got some cherry stuff in it, and that looks ridiculous to me. So,
yeah, those hard seltzers, not for me. You know, I'd rather, if I'm going to drink something sweet like that, it might as well just be like a cider or
right?
something like that. I'm not big on those. So Carvana did actually
White Claw,
do
yeah,
what
that's
I
what it's like.
wanted,
It's like
kind
White
of, but not exactly. It just held $24.50 on the bid, and now we got some people trying to get filled. I think I just got to write it off.
It's done. maybe.
Because even if this
what's
does go
this?
to 30, like I feel like I'm just over trading if I take another trade on Carvana, unless it's like an absolute must hit, which I think the 25 break was the only one left today for this. So
Or
hopefully this is the start of something.
Or you could take all of your profits in Carvana, roll it into BAOS when it opens back up here.
Oh, halted.
Because if you thought Carvana up 60% was something, how about BAOS up 105%? It's the second halt of the day.
488K float.
Oh, no, it's
according to
more than
Trade
that, yeah.
Ideas.
I'm sorry, how much? Oh, this is the 400,000 float, which don't get me started about a $400,000 float.
You don't want to play with those, I don't think.
That's insane. Seriously, Apple? Anyways, so the tap is 1240. It's halted at 1215. The high of the day, it's actually halted 4 times. This is the 4th time. Apparently halted a bunch at the open. But 1350 was the, as Sharif would say, the local high is 1350. The actual, I'm assuming the all-time high, because if it's got a high better than this one, then I don't know what's going on in the world. Apparently this was at like $40-something very recently. So those levels don't really matter. What you probably care about here is, can it hold the halt up? I think if it can, it's got room to that 13.5. It should be open in a matter of seconds or another 5 minutes. I'm going to go back over, and I just took a little bit out of Apple because the market is not going higher and Apple's sliding very slowly to the upside, and it's 3:30. Which means we probably get the early look on the imbalances. I have no idea. I haven't seen it. Oh, no, there it is. The early look is 73 million to the sell side.
Oh, what a spicy number there.
So that's not that significant. Obviously, that's not really going to move the market a heck of a lot. So small sell imbalance on the early look that we just got. So Apple's kind of gliding higher, but nothing's going parabolic anymore. It's just small moves. Coinbase managed to not stop me out. In your face. I was right there. I was like, if it goes another cent, I was going to get stopped out. 54, 55. That's creatively enough. But it's probably going to stop out anyways. Nothing left for me other than those two. Carvana might be done. BAOS, which we just mentioned, is Baosheng Media Group Holdings Limited. And opens up and already headed down. So good call not to roll those profits into long this.
Holding the halt price, though. So,
It is.
Maybe that one goes.
So the halt's
I
at...
don't know.
12.15. It did hold the whole price. The spread's 30 cents. 40. No, you can't.
Yeah, I don't think.
you can't.
And with a 400K float, whoever has a little bit of money can, manipulate
One
that
or
as they
two
please.
orders.
I think there's people on this floor that could probably manipulate that stock with their buying power. So I'm probably not going to mess with that one.
That's the thing about Carvana, DWAC when it went, GameStop when it went. Funware, like some of these other names that were so liquid, they're doing so much volume. Neo, when the Chinese ADRs get going, there's actual like liquidity that you can trade against. Whereas the Fortzes of the world, which I know it looked really good at that halt, but like that's not a very tradable stock. A $3 stock that's doing volume in place, not a 5-cent spread. A $12 stock doing 13 million shares with liquidity, like you'd expect better liquidity. When the spread is 10 cents, you got to figure if it really breaks down. Now, your exit is probably 40, 50 cents, and you're not getting 10 cents unless you're really lucky or have an early trigger. So it did set up. If you took the long off that halt price when it reclaimed it, you're actually in the money right now. I don't know where you're getting out on that one. So something media that we just said, whatever it was, to the downside after the test of the high of the day. CVNA, Carvana, it's hard not to keep looking at it. It hasn't really given it up yet.
I think there's going to be bids all the way down on this. I mean, if
there's
you're
still
short,
buyers.
you're probably covering as much as you can into the close, unless you really
don't
like
wanna
the
hold it.
fundamental reason for being short. But I don't know.
Depends on where you're short from. I
Yeah,
think.
of course.
Like, what do you want? It's broken both major moving averages. It has a catalyst. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably in that territory where the risk to reward. But then there's some that are like, this is where I want to get. I start building a short for the next move down.
Yeah, and if you're
There's
willing
some
to
of those.
hold it up to $50, $60, then fine,
you're-
and you like get in here.
You're a hedge fund.
Yeah, exactly.
You're only a hedge fund can do that.
So, and if hedge funds are the ones that are shorting, then we probably don't have much hope against them. That BAOS just got to $14 and wicked the high.
Oh,
as
so it
well.
was good.
So it was good.
That
I
was
could
good.
have loaded if I risked that, whole profit on Carvana today. I'd probably be up,
It's a valid,
but-
it's a valid setup, but you want the liquidity to be there. I like halt setups because what they give you like a reasonable line in the sand, like right here, like it opens up, it tests low. Like look at it, the halt's at 12.15. It doesn't even break, beneath this like 11.80. So you're then long when it breaks back above. You're stop out at 11.80. You think you're risking 30 cents. You might be risking 60. I have no idea. And now it's to the moon. So if you got it, congratulations. I suspect this one's going to halt. And if it halts in the last 10 minutes, forget about it being 5 minutes, halts in the last 10 minutes, open up at 4 o'clock no matter what. That's just the rule. That's what they do. Coinbase is doing nothing. I'm going to get some out at this is ridiculous. So
Tesla's going nuts.
Yeah, Tesla's going nuts. Apple is very slowly gliding higher still. So I did get some out there at 34. It's really not doing anything. It's just really slowly moving up here. It's okay off 180, but again, like the dip buys give you the more explosive moves. This late in the day, you got to get out at the end of the day here. So I have to find my way out of this one at some point. Still holding on to half of it, but at this, what's the point? I don't think we're getting a run to 181 unless an imbalance comes out in our favor or something like that.
Some Steve in the chat asking us to look at Tesla like on the daily chart. Is there a pullback in sight? I mean, honestly, for me, as my chart fails there, so you guys are gonna have to deal with this black one for the moment. But we just broke out over this 220 price. We do the 1 day pullback thing, can't even break yesterday's low, and then we blast off. So I don't know. I think this 238 is the next level, and then we get into those higher, spicier prices. I mean, post split, I think it was 315 was the high basically post split. Tesla, a ton of good news over and over and over again. That seems to be the way that Tesla news goes. It the bad news keeps piling on for a long time, and it goes down, and then the good news starts to pile on, and then you just keep seeing new highs and new highs and new highs.
It's true. It's true.
Expect more China news out of Tesla in the coming days, probably, as we keep making new highs. And my chart is now black, so
There's nothing wrong with the black chart. I mean, you know how I use black charts myself. On the show, our producer has told us that the white charts are easier for you guys to look at. So that's what we do.
I prefer to trade with black charts, but when I'm watching the show, or when I have been, I do prefer the white charts. It is easier.
You can bald cam if you guys want to see the setup and everything, because then they can see. If you're tuning in for the first time, I don't know if we have the shot, because there's one that's over our head. I call it the bald cam because I'm older than Max, obviously, and I have a bit of a bald spot. But I have screens. That one you can kind of get a look at it there. There's my hand. I have black charts up. I got trade ideas, and then I got some level 2s over there, and all the other stuff here. And then I show you guys this chart, which is always full screen. And I can toggle between my 15-minute, my daily, and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's the white chart showing. It's the only one. Every other one of my charts are black because I found that's just easier on the eyes. And you're staring at screens all day long. Some people wear those Ali G glasses is the name for the blue light, whatever that.
Oh yeah.
The Ali G glasses. That's the bald cam right there. So you can see that. And I didn't even know that I was getting a little bit thin there until I came on the show, and then I was watching, and he was like, "What the heck? Oh man, really? That's happening already?" And so I call it the bald cam now. But I just rang the register at 180.50 on Apple. The slowest grind to the upside continues to grind to the upside. And for absolute ish and giggles, BAOS touched 14.51, pulled back to 13.25, resisted a halt down, and is back to where the high is.
Yeah, and Carvana did exactly what I described wanting to see out of it. Breaks that 24.50, does a wick down about 15 cents, and then right back above. So probably should be long right now.
24.50
We're back above 25. I mean, we got 20 minutes left, and this could go $20 in 20 minutes potentially. Well, I mean, it would halt up and then open $20 higher, but I'm not actually expecting that to happen. But possible new highs coming in for Carvana, a little light pullback right into resistance and then goes back up. It's kind of been doing this all day, although maybe it does it like this time where it just holds and consolidates into the close.
I can see that.
I feel like, I feel like it's gone a long way, 62% today. For what is the float on Carvana? 85 mil float. So it's actually kind of a small float, but
It's not that big.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of interest on this one. It's done double its float in volume today, 160 million. So I feel like people could be placing their bets, covering their longs into the close, and we don't get that blast off. If we do, big FOMO for me, but I won't be trading it anymore because my setup has come in and gone. Same thing with Tesla, where that one does the same thing that I was kind of looking for on it, and we're back at highs basically.
Yeah, I mean, most things are making their way back up. Like I was sort of saying, Microsoft wasn't all that strong. I'm just going to pull it up over here. So there was a bit of a spike there in Apple. Now this chart doesn't want to load my Microsoft. I wanted to bring my black chart down. Okay, that's just not loading on Microsoft. That sucks. So, okay, there's Apple. It just got to 180.75. We were just at 50, so I took some out at 50, had an offer at 75, and it just got filled pretty quickly. Hopefully this will load up. Microsoft is getting off the schneid. Normally, if there was more time in the day, I think this has room to get to the high, as the NASDAQ is trying to go to the high, but I'm not going to be taking it. Coin doing absolutely nothing. That BAOS is nuts, man. So it just ran the highs again and started to come back in. If I was willing to pay for locates, it's shown you a couple of wicks above 14 and then rejections. So that usually would be like a short, but it doesn't matter, it's too late now. And the spread and the fact that locates probably cost like 50 cents a share. So
yeah, I was
way
just going to
too late.
say they're probably like 50 cents or $1 a share for those locates on.
I'm not going to pay for it, but I'm curious. I'm going to check. I'm going to say it's 27 cents a share.
I'm going to guess 69.
Of course you did. Okay, I'm just going to do this. I'll let you explain why you thought it would be 69 cents a share.
No, I think it could be like $1 per share or something. These like 400K floats, there's pretty much no short availability
Or unavailable.
usually.
Watch, it could be unavailable.
Oh, it could just be unavailable too as well. Yeah, Upstart just gave it up, kind of. So Carvana's staying up, and Upstart gives up that 3250 area.
A bit of a pullback happening. Oh, no, no way. 1 cent a share?
Really?
That's a recipe for disaster.
Maybe that. I mean,
that is way
that
too
could mean
cheap.
that this is trading at $50 to $70
That is way
tomorrow.
too cheap.
If
So
it's that easy to short.
Why that matters is because day trade is like, if it's 1 cent a share for us, that means most people can short this at will.
Yeah.
It's either really cheap or maybe it's free for some people, which doesn't make any sense with a 400,000 float. So there's a lot of day traders that would see that as a good opportunity, that if it pulls back into 11, oh my goodness, I can go short 14 with a 50-cent stop, and if it Huadunks down, I'm getting $2. Well, if everybody thinks that way in the short term because they don't want to go long the top, and it's costing them nothing for the borrows, you get screwed. I had a lesson on this in, was it Meagle? No, it wasn't, I forget what stock it was. And I remember after I got burned on it and almost shut down, and then I found out, I'm like, oh yeah, it was free for locates. And that's why and then I found out how bad like other day traders had done on that stock that day.
Yeah.
You want to stay away from them if it's way too cheap. You almost want to be paying something.
I recall
It wasn't Meagle, it was something else.
Viru. Sean said, that was my first day live.
Was it Veru? No.
And Sean comes into the meeting and he says, this is one of the worst stocks in day trade in the world history.
It might not have been
because
Veru,
so many people got blown up on this one.
It was similar, but Veru happened after this one, and I remember I didn't get burned on Veru because of the other one that I was like, yeah, never try your retracement strategies on the ones that are dead on free.
I find that, the ones that are free, if they kind of like keep waking up and coming back down or waking up all morning, and then the afternoon they suddenly break out, like those breakouts can be crazy.
And what they usually do is it'll set it up. So come to BAS for a quick second. Like it'll set it up like this, where it wicks over, so you're short the 14. It looks good, and then it gives people reasons to add, like confidence to add here. Like it's looking really, really good, but it never really breaks the 13. So you have people piling into the short because it keeps on looking fantastic. Maybe they're scalping out of it, and then it runs the high. Yep. And so it's anybody that has like the big money knows that day traders are going to get caught in that trap, where they keep creating these little dips. Like if you're long a boatload soaking up the float, like you can just cover a little. You know what I'm saying? You're covering the float. You just cover a little bit to cause it to come down, make the shorts think it's good. They pile into it again, and then all of a sudden you just buy that back in, which you already had, take it up to the high of the day and run the stops, and then they get squeezed and it halts up, and rinse and repeat that a few times, and you get DWAC, you get Veru. There's another one that I'm forgetting as well. I had to get more shares out of Apple. It's starting to pull back. It got to one. This is still BAOS. This just happened. Huadunk on Apple. 180.80. The imbalances are. I didn't get an update on it, but I'm assuming it's probably still nothing. Yeah, the update is still nothing. 73 to the sell side still. Absolutely nothing. So that's going to be it. It's going to be a nothing burger on these imbalances. Microsoft is pulling back in here. I might just get out of Coinbase before it even runs this stop. Like, what's the point? It is going to break. It is going to break. Coinbase is going to break down. Like, he keeps touching this, and it's probably just going to scream to the downside here. So I'm out of Coinbase. It got 20 cents in the money. I didn't take much out, and now it's going to break down. Lose about 15 pennies on that. HKD is not the stock I'm thinking about. HKD was absurdly expensive for low case. So maybe it's moving. Yeah, it didn't really move much. When HKD went to 2,500, there was nobody paying for those shorts. No. I don't remember how expensive it was, but it was enough that nobody here would have ever have even paid for 100 shares. It was just it was so absurd that it didn't make any sense. Because if you didn't take the trade, you're like, that's not worth it. Yeah. You had to know you're taking the trade. And then where were you going to take the trade? And how the hell were you going to get out if you were wrong? That was HKD.
I recall I was on vacation when HKD started popping off, and I messaged some of the guys in the back who had that 500 breakout that looked amazing. It went straight to 650. They're like, "Are you insane? What?
No,
we would not trade that."
No,
nobody
traded
it. $30. Yeah, nobody traded that.
Nobody traded. Trust me. Like people traded HKD when it was underneath $100.
Yeah.
And when it came back down underneath like maybe 200 even, like honestly it was under $100. That's where people were trading it. CVNA is coming back down in. 2 minutes to the imbalances. We'll get them to you live, everybody. But CVNA, it's still above 24.5, but it's definitely winding down a little bit here. Not really seeing the same buying here. Tesla is still going.
Yeah.
So Apple's trying to go, but Tesla is still at that high of the day. We'll see. I just want to see the imbalances come out at this point. If it comes out buy side after it being a very small sell, maybe you get another push to the upside late here in the day. But I doubt putting anything new on there after the way it's gone here today. And I'm going to double check to see if Kat gets to ring the bell today. Katrine, does she on the day Carvana went absolutely nuts? Oh no, Katrine doesn't get to ring the bell because we didn't get to 1,000 likes.
We didn't get to 1,000 likes when Carvana's up 60% today, doing 200 mil shares of volume.
BAOS too.
BAOS.
Don't sleep on, what is it called again?
Baosheng Media
Baosheng Media Group Holdings. Don't sleep on that either. It's not just all about Carvana.
Yeah.
It's all about Carvana.
It is. But, you know, a slightly degenerate possible swing idea on a BAOS with that float would be just to risk everything that you put into it and think, you know, maybe this goes to $100 in the next couple days.
Your risk is
just risk everything. Just whatever you put into it, it could go to 0, and, you know, maybe it goes to 100. That's like a 10 to 1, basically.
Or you could actually have a stop underneath $8.
Yeah, you could do that too.
And therefore risk like 50 to 60%.
Yeah.
I mean, like really, like if it's breaking $8,
It's not going.
It's not going.
It's not
so you don't actually have to ever hold anything to 0. I don't think you, like the only trades that are risking to lose everything are options bets. Like everything else, you have a stop, even if it's something ridiculous.
Some small caps, if they do like an offering and they're at $12, but you're still getting out at like 4, probably.
You're still getting out at 4. Like you take something at 5, you might get out at 1. You take you take a 25-cent break or a 50-cent break, you get out at 25 on a penny stock. Like there is always an out. There's always an out.
Unless you take too many shares. And Tesla's at 235 right now, so
Remember
did
the
it come out
flash
of
crash?
buy?
Oh, so the imbalances just dropped. ICE have not gotten a big update from Brendan just yet, but let's see what we're staring at here. Nothing really moved. I didn't see Apple go. This is really, really slow. Google's a buy to 1.1 million, Palantir 700,000, Cisco 600,000, Apple's a sell 700,000, 600,000, Intel, who cares? Lucid 600,000 buy. I might just take out Apple right now because it looks like with a sell imbalance and a lot paired off, the market not doing a heck of a lot. Yeah, not much on the way of the imbalances. Some smaller names here, some small caps that are showing up for a couple of million. None that I'm familiar with, ET, CRBG, and then a penny stock up there. So Google's probably the big one, up 1 million to the buy side on Alphabet. And of course, it's going down. So there you go. Kind of a buy and balance on Google that it does not care about whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on Tesla either. I was thinking maybe you could take a breakout on Tesla if it came out with a big buy imbalance here off that 235 level, but it does end up holding that. There's like 2,000 lots there on the offer. I'm hoping that it does pull back and hold that and we can take that breakout tomorrow morning. Yeah. I'm expecting that to be done after hours of pre-market though.
That would be sick.
I fully expected Tesla to get to 235 today, but I kind of just stopped trading it after it got to 233. Probably should have reloaded back there.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
But, Carvana's probably more fun anyway, which is consolidating above that 2450. So
today was a day.
A lot of people.
Today was a day that you cannot be mad. If you got Carvana, then you can't sit there and be like, oh, there's any other trade out there that I should have had.
Exactly.
That's sort of the thing. Like I'll lament my day because obviously I did about as whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm glad you got it. It should have halted at 21.
It should have.
They should have halted at 21.
And I was long at 18 twice, and sadly, I only took half off into this move and then stopped out for a loss and got back in half size here.
I thought it's tricky. I think it's trickier down there.
Yeah, it was definitely hard, but this is kind of a setup that I have when it breaks a level and then holds it this way, and then you're just risking down to this wick here.
So why didn't you? So can I ask? We have 7 minutes to go here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Congratulations to anyone to Carvana. Can we put your chart back up there? Put up Max's chart? Because my one question is, if you like it holding the higher low, and I'm pointing there so you know what I'm looking at, why not have it when it breaks the teal? I know you like it here; it's a better price, but if it breaks the moving averages, or even
back to the upside, add more here. Because this was I stopped out and then got back in here.
Oh, so it breaks here, and you added here, not like.
Oh yeah, this was a 19 level.
Oh, that was a 19 even break.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 19 even, and it stopped there the first time, so it was kind of giving me indications that 19 would be the spot.
Gotcha.
But I was willing to this was like a 50% add, so I was willing to kind of risk this down to basically break even on that. I don't know. I mean, could have been better if I didn't add on 20 today. I think I'd still be holding a piece on that 18 level, but. Pretty happy with what happened on Carvana today.
Can't hate. Someone just said Tesla, sell or hold.
I would hold Tesla, but
it's
not financial advice.
In a long-term account, I hold Tesla, and I'm not selling it.
Yeah.
I mean, in the long term, I don't really sell anything because you're holding it for the long term. That goes without saying. If you look at the up move that it's on, if it breaks out from here, what are we even talking about? At that point, you got to go. Ours don't split adjust. That's kind of frustrating. Yeah. There's really no big levels until you get to 290. 250 is an obvious one. Here, I'm just trying to very quickly as I talk switch my trade idea so you can see the weekly chart. Look at the weekly chart on Tesla.
We're really breaking out now.
Look at you breaking out. Is that giving a reason to get out of it? What's the reason to be out of this? It's blowing through this level on the weekly. And as I said, 290, 300 is really the next resistance. I would say 260 here where it had a big gap down. That could be a little bit of something. But, yeah, if you look at the trend upside right now, it's pretty solid on Tesla as far as that. In terms of what's happening literally now, there's 150,000 shares that's about to take it on the offer at 235. Almost said something else. I can't say that. So 235 up top. It is about to break 235. There was size up there. About half of it's been filled. Actually, more than that has been filled now on. I still have Carvana or BAOS on there. It did just turn around here, 235 holding out. You should crack that because there's less than 5 minutes to go.
This is cheers to the longs on Tesla today.
There you go.
All the way up
I
to
can't cheers with
235.
water because that's actually not right to do. And I didn't make money on Carvana, so I'm not going to drink anything. Is it as good as it looks?
You want to try?
Hell no, I don't want to try
You know what
that.
it kind of tastes like? A fruit roll-up.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to have any.
Yeah.
So
Not the best, not the best. But,
congratulations, but they didn't exactly keep the fridge well stocked for Carvana Day here today.
Yeah, they should have known. Should have known for sure. As Carvana does do that little 24 dance again, so
It's
once
still
again
up
just
there.
bouncing. It looks like people are really covering this one, but we are on a bit of a downtrend coming into the close on Carvana. I would love for this to be the start of something. That would be
Start of something big.
crazy. The start of something big. Get to like 100, 200, 500 bucks, like GameStop. That'd
What
be
was
awesome.
it? So its run high was where is it? I'm just trying
480 or something.
Was it Carvana's?
Yeah, Carvana.
Was it
that like
no
4
380? 380.
380?
Yeah. So Carvana's was 380. So its squeeze high was $380. What goes up?
I don't think that was squeeze. That was just
Okay,
pure,
no. Okay, fine.
like moment.
Oh, well,
like they thought this company was actually valued at $400.
they thought a lot of
share.
companies were valued at some utter nonsense.
Yeah.
Shall I pull up a chart of Silvergate,
Yeah, exactly.
Virgin Galactic, Lemonade? I'm just naming the ones that I had on the way up.
Yeah.
What else is out there? You guys know Tesla breaking 237, 235, 235. Vana. We just want to see it. We just want to see these things go. It's a lot
Wow,
of
the
fun
break was
sometimes, whether
good.
you have it or not. It was a decent break out there on Tesla.
Usually those ones into the end of the day are kind of nasty and they chop around.
There's no time left on the
Yeah.
clock. That's the problem.
But you get like 20 cents right away on that breakout. That's, I mean,
Not
that's pretty
bad.
good for the end of the day if you're trying to pad the stats going into the close.
Yeah,
game, that
padding the
kinda trade.
stats. There was a trader, and it was about 350, and I was sitting behind him when this happened, and he was trying everyone made a big note about the G note, get up a G note or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So
The comma
this
club.
trader, who shall remain nameless, was at $991 and change, and he was like, all I have to do is take 1,000 shares for 1 penny, and then I'll be over $1,000. And so in that next 10 minutes, he proceeded to shut himself down. That's just the long and short of it. I don't have enough time to tell the whole story, but he didn't trade one time for 1,000 shares. He got in, lost 3 cents, and now he needed 4 cents. But he's like, well, if I just take 2,000 shares, and then he shut himself down. I think he was LFT'd and still up on the day,
Yeah.
a couple $100, but that's one of those painful lessons to learn. Like, what difference does it make if you made 991 or 1,001? If that matters to you, that's 100% your ego. Brendo has the earnings board. There's one big name tomorrow morning that I completely forgot about.
DocuSign?
Neo. Well, DocuSign
Oh,
too.
before they open. Yeah. Neo.
Neo reports.
You know, Neo is always good to trade on earnings.
Yes, I hope so. It's got an $8 break, maybe.
To the upside.
Well, so here's what $8 looks like. It actually was above this in the pre-market. But it's been, come to my chart for a second if it bothers to load up here. Keep going, keep load, PC load letter. There you go. Like if it gets above here, there is an actual gap from 9 that it could start to fill in. But it opened above or in the pre-market and then just fell all day today, which is higher lows setting up. Like every time it's quadroomed, it's had just racing back the last 2 days. Like it goes down and then just races up like 60, 70 pennies. So I think there could be a chance for it to go. I hope it happens because we want to be able to trade it. And Neo, they never report at the same time. It's always hard to lock down when it is, but I always trust Brendan when he says this is what's going to happen. So 1 minute to go. Did we get to 1,000? Oh my goodness, 946 likes only. No
Brutal.
1,000 likes. Katrine, we didn't get to 1,000 likes. They don't want to see you ring. They don't want to see you ring the bell. Apparently, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Carvana will go to 45. Max said. Max said it, not me. You did say it's going to 45.
I said 45 target. I didn't say it's going there, though.
No, I
So,
heard you say it's
know,
going to 45.
that's
Max said it's going to 45. You hit the like and subscribe and own Carvana shares.
all-time highs.
Okay,
All-time
we're over
highs.
1,000 now. Katrine will ring the bell.
All
All-time highs is 380 we just looked at.
Well, you know.
If that
Wait,
goes
Somebody told me that Volkswagen squeezed on like 35% short interest.
with the Volkswagen squeeze there was something fundamentally different about that compared to other ones. You got to look that one up. Like read it up on Investopedia. It was vastly different. I can't explain it in 10 seconds, but yeah, that was way crazier than anything we've ever seen. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and I had to cancel. Casino closed. Yeah, Volkswagen was wild, man. Like, it was wild. Like, it should never have happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't usually see a squeeze like that on a name that is that big and heavily traded and a very legitimate company. And yeah, look it up. It's definitely worth the read. There should be a movie. Well, I guess there should be like a movie on short squeezes. Like,
Yeah.
why isn't there a Netflix?
There's a Netflix one on GameStop.
Yeah, but that,
But
yeah,
it's,
no.
it's kind of like, it's not technical though. It's like kind of
That's
for
right.
entertainment purposes.
Like, I want something like The Big Short, where it's going to tell you this.
Yeah.
It's going to tell you the story, but it's going to give you some more nuts and bolts, and you can learn a little bit more about the mechanics of what goes on here. Before I keep rambling on about it, let's go to Brent and see how the market ended up.
Yeah, a bit of a choppy end to the day, guys, depending on where you're looking. We were talking a little bit earlier about some relative weakness in banks. Once again, I'll highlight here the Russell 2000, 0.34 to the downside when all is said and done. Everything else, though, in positive territory outside of the TSX here in Toronto. A little bit weak on energy and some metals that were downside today. It was all about tech, though. 1 full percent for the composite, 1.27 there for the NASDAQ. 100 leading the day.
NASDAQ finishing up, looking pretty nice. The ES was okay. BAOS hit $15 and then pulled back 10%, but that's still deep in the money if you got it. Thank you for the super chat, Lilia Nene. 1 trillion. 1 trillion's one love. Fire. I like it. Thank you very much, Lilia. Thank you to everybody out there. Thank you to Max for filling in for Sean. You're going to be here tomorrow, so I really do hope that Carvana goes to 45.
Yes.
And I will just copy all of your trades and not take any halts to the upside because they're no good.
You guys are going to see some interesting facial expressions if Carvana is still running tomorrow, because you can't hold back on those ones, even if you're live on YouTube.
Oh, there's some really good ones. When, like, I remember DWAC. There's some moves out there like HKD. There's a point where HKD goes over like a 1500 somewhere on YouTube, where like I don't realize I'm on camera, and the stock's going. I'm just like doing this, like what the hell, and I'm on camera the whole time, just completely dumbfounded. But thank you guys so much. It's been an absolute blast. I want to thank obviously Yannick doing a fantastic job on the midday, kind of half filling in for you. Sharif doing a great job on the 1s and 2s. We've had Prad, Alfredo. Fabian doing a great job. As always, Brendan is the absolute man. Hope Sean does really well in his golf, and I hope he gets to play because the air is not supposed to be very good in the next couple of days here in Toronto.
Yeah.
So I hope he's able to get out there. Any final thoughts there, Brendo?
Sorry, guys. Prad's talking to me. I missed what you said.
Yo, Prad, man. Come on, man.
I didn't see anything. No.
Okay, so nothing happening just yet. We do have DocuSign after the bell, Neo before the bell tomorrow. It has been an absolute blast. Carvana to the moon. That is Brendan. That is Maximilian. I'm Neil. This is Trader TV Live. We will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
So right now.